purpose of this video is to just simply be informative, be informational, and definitely add value to you all this evening, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about the importance of protecting your financial foundation. So I want you guys to kind of visualize this. In a home, when you're purchasing a brand new property, one of the very things that you need to be looking out for when you're going through an inspection is your foundation, right? So if there's a crack in the foundation, you may be reconsidering and purchasing the house, maybe looking elsewhere, because a cracked foundation means that there's a lot that's going to have to be put into the home to keep it stable in the long run. And so it's definitely something that you want to reconsider, right? But I want you to think of that same concept when it comes to your financial foundation, and why making sure that it is on solid ground is important, okay? And so if you don't protect your financial foundation from 3 potential catastrophes, which I'm going to go over today, what you have saved for retirement, the beautiful home that you have, the cars that you drive, the neighborhood that you live in, all of that can go away. And it's scary to think of it, but I want to really paint this picture for you all, because I see it every single day when I sit with clients, and how they're in such a financial hardship because they did not properly plan, and we all know that not properly planning is in essence planning to fail. And so I want to give this information to you all in hopes that this adds value to you, and you can also share with some of your loved ones. Okay, so again, if you don't protect your financial foundation, you're in for a rude awakening when it comes to hurting your finances in the very near future, okay? So number 1 is, in the event of a premature death, and I want you to think of this. If I were to be gone tomorrow, if God called me home tomorrow, will my family be okay financially? Not just for the next month, 2 months, funeral expenses paid for. I'm talking about long-term. Is my income going to be needed if I'm gone? Will my kids be able to go to college? Will my family be able to pay the mortgage? Will they be able to stay in their home? Can they still go to the same schools? So I want you to think of things like that. Premature death is what sets a lot of families back for not just a year, 2 years, 3 years, but 4, 5, 6, 7, even 10 years, especially if they have very young children. So always planning accordingly for that, obviously. And I'm not talking about the 1.5 times your salary that you get from your job, or even the supplemental life that you can get through your job. You have to have something outside of work. And there's many reasons for that. If you want to learn more about that and why, I can definitely share that information. The second key factor that could really put a dent in finances is in the event of a sudden illness. I can't tell you how many people I come across that either have experienced personally or have themselves, someone that they know that they love had experienced some kind of a critical or chronic condition. And by that, I mean, they had a stroke, a heart attack, they had cancer, unfortunately, or, ALS, Parkinson's, something that unfortunately caused them to have to dip into other financial resources, like their retirement plans, like remortgaging the house, like exhausting 100% of their savings because they had to focus on taking care of themselves. And so it's very important to make sure that you have things in order. For example, whether it's a short-term disability policy, long-term care, again, outside of your job. In addition to that, maybe a life insurance policy with living benefits. So that's the new type of life insurance. If you don't have that, we need to sit down and have a conversation. And then, and the reason why it's so important is because if you all don't know, 63% of bankruptcies in America have everything to do with some kind of a health change. And that's really tragic, because that just means that we're not preparing properly. And not just that, it also means that your health care coverage, your health insurance plans are not covering 100%. So a lot of the cost is coming down to the patient, to the person who's insured, okay? So very, very important. I know that I've had people that have told me tragic stories, even my own clients that have said, I lost my house because I had cancer and I couldn't keep up with the payments. And guess what? Your illness, your condition does not stop debt collectors from calling you, from trying to get their piece of the pie. They need to be paid as well. And so if you're able to at least have one form of peace of mind, and that you have, additional resources to be able to cover the cost of medical treatments and surgeries and so forth, you definitely want to protect yourself, okay? That can prove to be detrimental. We see a lot of GoFundMe accounts for medical expenses. That I believe right now it's over 2 million accounts for medical expenses, and that's really, really sad. So make sure that you have that proper coverage, okay? And number 3 is losses in the stock market. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but we are now in about a 10-year bull market. And what does that mean? I don't want to be super technical, but what that means basically is that I think I froze up here, that we're on the verge of having another collapse, another financial crisis, okay? And the accounts that you have set up, meaning if they're in aggressive accounts such as your 401k, your pension, your IRAs, and so forth, there's a high risk there, meaning that you could lose even more than what those individuals lost back in 07, 08. It was about 43% or so. So I want you to think of this. Am I in a position to be okay to lose money that I've saved over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Think about people that are about to retire. How would that affect them in their retirement? Meaning, if someone's going to retire December 31st of 2019 and start enjoying their retirement, their golden years in 2020, are they going to be able to do that? And if they are able to, what quality of life, what kind of life are they going to live, knowing that they've just lost 40, 50, 60% of their retirement? It can happen. It can happen, and it has happened, and it will happen again.